Yo, what's going on, guys? It's me, Jedi. Today, we're going to look at the top 10 facts about the greatest predator that ever lived, the Megalodon. So, as always, let's go. Starting off, we're going to talk a lot about the size first. So people don't really gauge the whole understanding of the shark, right? It's not like a normal fish. The biggest whale is 23 feet. This whale is 60 feet. And the biggest whale probably weighs about 2 to 3 tons. This whale weighs 60 tons. So this is like 11 buses and like a lot of other really cool facts, like 3 football fields and stuff like that. This shark is no joke. It's really big. And if you haven't watched the movie, the MEG, strongly recommend the movie. It's a great movie, great family movie. You guys can all watch it together. And it shows you like a lot about the shark itself. But the shark is really big. So if you are thinking something like, no, Megalodon can't really be that big. I mean, I've seen great whites, so I don't think anything can get bigger than that. You are really wrong. The Megalodon is gigantic. Its teeth, it actually had 7 rows, 3 on top and 4 on the bottom, and it would use those to just basically like completely chew its prey into dust before it swallowed it. And it could do so much damage with it too. It could wreck boats and stuff like that. And its teeth would grow up to 7 inches long. So just think about that. 7 inches long is about your palm, a little bit bigger. Depends on how big your hands are. I mean, I have decently big hands, so for me it'd be my palm. And so if you're a little kid imagining this, pretty much imagine from up to like the beginning of your forearm to your finger, and that's probably how big the shark tooth actually was. The great white sharks are not related to the Megalodon. Like, this is something that I hear so much in so many popular debates and in so many of the whole like forums and stuff where they talk about Megalodons. Is they just keep comparing it to the great white shark. Like, they just completely undermine the value of Megalodon just by comparing it to like a shark that we see now, but it's not closely related. Like, the great white shark has its qualities, but the fact that the great white shark doesn't really like hunt as ferociously as a Megalodon completely changes it. And the Megalodon has completely different habits than the great white shark, and it also has completely different motives than the great white shark. So do not compare them to each other, because the Megalodon's on a way higher level than the great white shark. Number 4 is Megalodons are basically like strongmen bodybuilders, and you see guys like him right there. These guys are like super big and they eat a lot. Same thing with the Megalodon. I mean, it's super big. How is it gonna stay that way if it doesn't eat? It basically has whales for breakfast. So a couple whales for breakfast, and a couple orcas for dinner and stuff like that, and just small sharks between. It's basically what a Megalodon would normally eat. So these Megalodons actually had to eat a lot to actually stay in their normal size. So if they couldn't get all that food, then they would just die. So that's why these Megalodons became really athletic and agile and super fast, and all like that qualities that you would need in a shark. They had it because it would be really hard for them to find their prey, since their prey had to be really big, so they could just go at it once and just kind of devour it and leave it. So the Megalodons actually had a lot of skill in that way, and they were really smart, and they had to eat lots and lots of food just to stay with their size. So although Megalodon are pretty rare, their teeth actually are not that rare. They're actually pretty common, so a lot of museums actually have them. This isn't something like, oh, we found a Megalodon tooth and there's only like 70 out there. There are actually a lot, so there are actually some places where you could go and you could dive and you could maybe find a Megalodon tooth, but the chances of that happening are really rare. And if you do happen to find one, it would be a really good idea to probably cherish that forever, because that's a really lucky find. And there's so many places that you can go to go do that, and make sure you guys try that out if you could anytime in the future. So unlike most of the other sharks, Megalodons were actually like worldwide. So with a lot of other things, you can kind of narrow them down to like a specific area from where they're from, including like a lot of fishes, ranging from like your household fishes to like the great white sharks. You could pretty much like pinpoint where they're from, and you can kind of just see where they are and you can gauge it. With the Megalodon, that wasn't the case. These sharks are really big and fast, so they can just move super fast from one place to another. So they could pretty much travel through the oceans, and they would just and they would be like all over the place, because they had no competition. Like, that's what people like don't gauge. It's the fact that they don't have any competition, so they basically just rule the entire sea, and they can go wherever they want. So Megalodons would usually hunt by themselves, so they would just take over different places. So 2 Megalodons don't ever come next to each other, because that fight would kind of just like completely mess with that ecosystem in that area. So Megalodons would always just be as spread out as possible, and that's probably one of the main reasons why they were just all over the place. Number 8 is that the megalodon bite. We're gonna go back to this. Well, its bite was actually the most powerful of any animal that ever lived, and this bite would pretty much just drill into your flesh, and you wouldn't really feel it because it would just be fast and it would just happen within a snap, and it would basically just completely change your body into dust within like a couple seconds. And that's the reason why it was actually able to eat many different big animals and big fishes, because of the fact that it would just be able to just go really fast and get through food and just chew it and just digest it. So one of the cool things about megalodons is there were actually some people actually discovered some megalodon nursery areas where there were scientists, you know, back in the day when megalodons were alive, where you could see like a place where you could see small megalodons. You could find small megalodon fossils because megalodons actually gave birth to their young in shallow water, so then they didn't have to worry too much about being too much in sea. And also megalodon's kids were not super big like their parents, they were just super small. So like I'm gonna put a teeth comparison right there. So the one on the left is the megalodon son teeth, or the kid teeth, and then the one on the right is the full grown megalodon teeth. So that's like the comparison. So megalodon kids aren't kind of like giraffes where they just pop out being 6 foot. You know, they're pretty big, but not as big as a full grown megalodon. Number 10 is the megalodon could just keep growing teeth over and over again really fast. So for megalodon, growing teeth is like us growing nails. So every single time you cut nails, it grows back. Same thing for megalodons, but for them it's their teeth. And with their huge rows of teeth, 276 teeth like approximately, maybe a little give or take more. And the megalodon's teeth were just like completely just, they would just keep reproducing. So even if people were to like stop them from like biting their boat and megalodon would lose its teeth, it would just grow that back within a short amount of time, and it would just be right back at hunting. And this is one of the main reasons why people found a lot of megalodon teeth, was because of the fact that they would just go right through it. And this is why the whole megalodon teeth finding thing is still a big thing, because of the fact that they have this ability. Alright guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys let me know what you thought of this video, and also
like the video, share the video, and subscribe.
Do that. And Instagram, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.